Today, we're jumping into an incredibly dramatic 48-hour period from a pivotal ancient text. We're going to break down a story of conspiracy, an unexpected act of devotion, and a final transformative meal. All right, so let's dive right in. The whole story kicks off just 2 days before the Passover festival. And what's wild is that two completely separate plans are set in motion at the exact same time. They are absolutely on a collision course, but the people involved, they have no idea. And right here, you can see the stark contrast. On one side, you have Jesus, out in the open, telling his disciples exactly what's about to happen to him. It's a public prophecy. But on the other side, in the shadows of the high priest's palace, a secret plot is taking shape to do the exact same thing, arrest and kill him. So let's take a closer look at this conspiracy. The guy in charge is Caiaphas, the high priest. He's the top religious authority. Their goal is crystal clear: arrest Jesus and kill him. But their whole strategy hinges on doing it secretly. They are seriously worried about the massive crowds in Jerusalem for the festival, so they all agree, whatever happens, it can't be in public. No riots. Now get this. While that cold, calculated plot is being hatched, the story completely shifts gears. We cut away from this conspiracy to a really intimate and honestly controversial moment of personal devotion. We're at a dinner party in a town called Bethany, and out of nowhere, a woman comes up to Jesus holding this beautiful jar filled with incredibly expensive perfume. And then, in this just stunning move, she pours the entire thing all over his head. Can you imagine the scene? Well, Jesus' own disciples, they are not impressed. In fact, they're indignant. They just see it as a huge waste of money. Their reaction is completely practical. They're thinking, do you know how many poor people we could have helped with that cash? But Jesus, he sees it completely differently. He actually scolds them for criticizing her. He reframes the whole thing. He doesn't see waste. He sees something beautiful. He's trying to get them to look past the price tag and see the heart behind what she just did. And this is the key. Jesus gives her action a meaning that nobody else in the room gets. He connects it directly to his own death, saying she was preparing him for burial. It's this perfect, almost poetic link, right back to the prophecy he made at the very start of our story. So, we have this incredible peak of devotion, and then, bam, the story just pivots hard in the complete opposite direction. That conspiracy being cooked up by the priests, it's about to get the one thing it was missing: an inside man. And here he is. The text makes it a huge point to say this isn't just some follower, it's one of the 12, a member of Jesus' absolute inner circle. Judas Iscariot literally walks away from Jesus and goes straight to the people who are plotting to kill him. And his question is just chilling. It's so direct. There's no talk about ideals or religious differences. It's just a cold, hard business deal. What are you going to pay me if I hand him over? And they give him an answer. The price for betraying Jesus is set at 30 pieces of silver. And that's it. The deal's done. Judas goes back to Jesus and the disciples, pretending like nothing's happened. But now, he's just waiting, watching for that perfect opportunity to hand Jesus over quietly, away from the crowds, just like the priests wanted. This brings us to the real heart of the story, the Passover meal. And you have to remember, this isn't just any dinner. It's a deeply sacred ancient ritual. And of course, it's going to be their last one altogether. Right in the middle of this sacred meal, Jesus just drops a bombshell. He looks at these 12 men, his closest friends, and says, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." You can just imagine the atmosphere in that room completely shattering. The text says they were very sad, and this wave of shock and denial just washes over them. One by one, they each have to ask him, "Surely it's not me, is it, Lord?" Now, Jesus doesn't just point a finger. No, he uses an act of friendship, of community, sharing food from the same bowl to identify the person. It just underscores how deep and personal this betrayal is. It's someone he's breaking bread with, right at that very second. And then comes this quiet, absolutely bone-chilling exchange. Judas, the betrayer himself, has the nerve to ask the same question. "Surely you don't mean me." And Jesus' answer, "You have said so," is this direct but somehow private confirmation. The truth is finally out, just between the two of them. But here's what's so amazing. Even with this awful knowledge just hanging in the air, Jesus doesn't stop the meal. Instead, he does something extraordinary. He takes the ancient symbols of Passover and gives them a completely new meaning. So here's what he does. He takes the bread, gives thanks, breaks it, and says to them, "Take and eat. This is my body." Then he takes a cup of wine, gives thanks, and tells them, "Drink from it, all of you." And this is the game changer. The bread is no longer just bread, it's a symbol of his body. The wine is no longer just wine, it represents his blood of the covenant, a brand new promise that he says will be poured out for the forgiveness of sins. He's literally establishing a new tradition right there in the middle of all this tension. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought. In just 48 hours, you have these two extremes: a woman's act of profound sacrificial devotion and a friend's infamous, calculated betrayal. As this story has been told for thousands of years, which one do you think is remembered more? And what does that say about what we as people tend to focus on?